Alright, so you should be on this page here. So we're gonna learn how to use that formula sheet in order to solve circle problems. So your assignment should be this one here. If you click in there, you should be able to see it. You can open it up and then you can do the problems. Everything that we need for this assignment is right here on this formula sheet. I'm gonna go ahead and open it up, and I'm actually gonna use that in order to solve all the problems that we need to use. Okay, if you have a printer, I will recommend that you print this out. Usually in a normal class, I always print this out and I have it available for students because my goodness, it's so helpful to me as well. Every time I do geometry, this is what I like to do. I always like to just go back to the formula sheet and do the problems. I never memorize anything. I don't like memorization whatsoever. So I always have that available for me as well. All those formulas available for me. All right. So this lesson is going to be a little bit different because what I'm actually going to be doing is I'm going to be doing half of the problems for you. So there's 24 problems. I'm going to do 12 of them, and you're going to do the other 12. Now, if you watch the video, you only have to, for this assignment, you should get at least 50% because I'm doing 50% for you. And I'm going to give you the answers for 1, 3, 5, 7, all the odd ones. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with this problem right here. If you open it up, this is what you're gonna see in there. So the first thing that you have to understand when you're doing this is you have to recognize what you have. What do we have in here? So I'm gonna go back to my formula sheet and I'm gonna say, hey, what does that look like? Does it look like this? Does it look like this? Does it look like this, or that? They always have specific names. This one is, for example, two tangents. A tangent is when it's a segment that is attached to a circle by a point. And then we have secants, and then we have tangent and a secant, and then we have two chords. Chords is pretty much two segments inside the circle, and then we have a tangent and a chord. So you have to be able to recognize what we have in here. When I look at this, I see that I have a tangent and I have a secant. Okay, or I'll just have to look for something that looks just like that, guys. So I'm gonna go back to my formula sheet and I'm gonna say, hey, which one is the one that looks kind of like that? And as you can see, it's this one right here. If you look at your formula sheet and you look at the prawn, okay, that looks very similar. So as you can see, the formula is right there. So what I'm gonna do, guys, is I have the formulas on another computer, so I'm gonna be looking at that. Okay, so the formula for this one, we have a tangent and a secant, so you're gonna be using the formula for a tangent and a secant. And let me decrease this so I can help you. So the first step in doing this is to identify what you have. And then here you have a tangent and a secant. And the formula that we need, well, they're asking us to find this right here from there to there. That's the question mark. That is what we're looking for. The formula, it says that x is equal to half times m minus n. And then we also have to recognize what we have in here. What is the x? What is the m? What is the n? Okay, if we go back to the formula, this is the x, this is the n, and this is my m. Okay, m, n, and x. Okay, so you have to recognize every single one of those parts. So in here, this right here will be my x, this right here will be my n. So in reality, we're going to be looking for n, and this right here, from there to there right there, will be my m. So if I use my formula that I see in there, it will be x, which is 50, is equal to half, the m is 162, minus the n, which is what we're looking for. What I like to do is multiply both sides by 2, so that this and this cancels, and then we get 100 is equal to 162 minus n. Okay? We're going to subtract now. Let me pull out my calculator. Well, on this one it's pretty easy. I subtract 162 on both sides, and I get negative 62 actually is equal to negative n. That means that n is equal to positive 62. Okay? So as you can see in this problem, that n, or the question mark, is 62. So the answer for number 1 should equal 62. And I'm going to be verifying all of this as we're going. Okay, 62, very good. All right, let's go ahead and do number 3. Now, all you have to do is number 2. You're going to be doing number 2 for me. But you know already that number 1 is 62. Number 3. Okay, let's identify what you have in here. Okay, I can see that you have a tangent and a secant. So you gotta look for something that looks like that. If I go back to my formula sheet, look, that's the formula that I need, a tangent and a secant. It's the same one as before. So maybe it's okay. So I'm gonna be using the same formula. Is x is equal to half of m minus n. And now you have to recognize what you have. What is this right here? This is my x, this is my this is the n, and this is right here is the m. So the x again is a question mark. That's what we're looking for. The m in this case is 110, and then the n is 50. Oh, that's way too big. So 110 minus 50 is 60. And half of that will be 30. And I'm checking here on my other computer that that is the correct answer. Okay? So once again, guys, all we're doing in here is that we're recognizing what we have and we're applying the formula that we need. All right, let's take a look at this one here. What do I have here? So if I go back to my formula sheet, I'm gonna look for exactly that right there. Okay, something that looks like that. You will always find something that looks like that. Let's go back to it. So this one right here looks the same as this right here. This is an inscribed angle. So the formula for that is right there. And we've seen this before. This right here, and we talked about this as well. X is equal to half of n. Now identify what's x and what's n. This right here is x, this is my n. We're looking for n. So we have 50 is equal to half of n. Multiply both sides by 2 and you get 100 as your final answer. okay? Be able to identify all the number 2. It's actually very similar to number 1. Number 4, what do you need? Number 4, and I'm just gonna point out for you which one is the one that you need. Number 4 seems to be 2 tangents. So you're gonna look for one that looks just like that. 2 tangents, where is it? Okay, right here. See, the formula is actually the same. Okay, x is equal to half m minus n. Recognize what the m is, recognize what the n is, and recognize what the x is. Okay, let's go back to that one. So you already know which formula to use for that one. Let's do number 5. You're gonna do number 6 for me. All right, let's actually do the harder ones, because this actually gets a little bit more challenging. All right, number 7. So first of all, recognize what you have. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my formula sheet. I'm gonna say, hey, you know what? Okay, that one. That one seems to work for me. Okay, let's see if I can do it now. So for this one, we're gonna use this formula, 2 chords. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my formula here. Again, I'm seeing the formulas on another computer, but the formula was this: x is equal to half of m plus n. Now we have to recognize what x is, what m is, and what is n. And I'm gonna point them out with my red color. Let's find what x is. The x is the one in the middle. So this one right here will be my x. The m, okay, on this one, just because you have a plus sign right there, it doesn't really matter which one you pick as m and which one you pick as n. Just by looking at the picture, I'm gonna say that this is m and this right here will be n. So all I'm doing, guys, is looking at this right here. Okay, that's what I'm using right now. Okay, to figure out what the formula is. So again, the x in this case is 62x plus 1 is equal to half. Okay, what's the m? The m is 50 plus, okay, what is the n? The n is 99x plus 2. All right, now our job is to solve for x, and this is what they're asking us. They're asking us to solve for x. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and solve for x. Here's what I'm gonna do. I don't like working with fractions, I really don't. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna multiply both sides by 2. We have to be careful when I do that, because when I multiply both sides by 2, I have to multiply everything by 2. So this and this will cancel, but now I have to distribute that 2 right there. 2 times 62 is 124x plus 2 is equal to 50 plus 99x plus 2. Now I'm going to go ahead and attempt to solve this wrong. The first thing I want to do is combine like terms. Like for example 50 and 52, I can combine them together to get 52. Now I'm gonna go ahead and solve now. The first thing I want to do is subtract 99x from both sides. Okay. On this side, 124 minus 99 is going to be 25x. Now I'm going to go ahead and subtract 2 on both sides, so that this and this cancels out. That's going to give me 25x is equal to 50. That means that x, okay, is equal to 2. So the answer for number 7 is 2. Okay, as you can see, the problems are getting a lot more challenging than the first ones there. The first ones were like kind of like a warm-up. Now number 7 is getting a little bit more challenging because we have to understand what is it that we have to use. Okay, and that is difficult sometimes. Okay, I'm supposed to do number 9, but because 10 is a little bit more difficult, I'm actually going to do number 10. Okay, so that you can see what I'm doing, because this could be challenging sometimes. All right, let's go ahead and do number 10 here. First of all, we have to recognize what we have. What is it that we're going to use? As you can see in there, we have what we call 2 chords. How do you know it's called 2 chords? Well, I'm just gonna look at my formula sheet and there it is. We have 2 chords. Okay? So that's what I'm going to use. Okay, it's the same formula as number 7. So once again, the formula is x is equal to half of n plus n. Now, there is a different way you can write this formula, and it's the following. If you multiply times 2, the formula could be rewritten as 2x is equal to m plus n. Why do I like this better? Because it doesn't have a fraction. Okay, and it's very simple to use. Okay, so all right, now let's identify what we have. First of all, we have an x. Then m and n could be either one of those. Let's just say that this is m and this is n. Only in this problem, it doesn't matter what m and n is, as long as you pick any one of those. So let's start with x. X is the red circle, so 2 times 110 is equal to m. M in this case is 15x plus 1. And then n, which is the green, okay, that's going to be 21x plus 3. Okay, 2 times 110 is 220. And then 15x plus 21x, I believe that's going to be 36x. And then I'm going to add 1 plus 3, and that's going to give me 4. Let's go ahead and subtract 4 from both sides. That means 220 minus 4 should be 216 is equal to 36x. Divide both sides by 36. And x is equal to 6. And let me just verify that here on my computer, and that is exactly correct. All right, so you can do 8 and 9. 8 and 9. Number 8, you have what it seems to be 2 secants. So you use this formula here. X is equal to half of m minus n. Okay, and all you have to identify is, well, this is the x, this right here will be, if I just look at the picture, all I'm doing is looking at the picture, this will be the m. I'm sorry guys, I'm doing this wrong. That's not the x actually. The x, when you have 2 secants, is this. This is the x, this is the n, and this is the m. Okay? And I was just looking at the picture incorrectly. Now it should be good. You're going to replace the x, the m, and the n with those values that you have in there. Let's move on. Let's do number 11 for you, and you're gonna do number 12. Okay, when I look at this, I'm gonna go back to my formula sheet and see which one is the one that I have to use. As you can see in there, we have a tangent and a chord. A tangent and a chord. So we're gonna use that in order to solve the problem. So if I have a tangent and a chord, okay, the formula for that is x is equal to half of n. And what is the x? Well, the x, as you can see on the picture, if I just go back really quick, the x will be this right here. This is considered the x. And this right here will be the n. So again, the x in this case will be x plus 56 is equal to half, and the n in this case is 1/12. Half of 1/12 is 56. Oh, I'm actually gonna get 0 in here. Let me confirm that. Yes, that is true. So x in this case will be 0. All right. All right, so let's start doing a little bit more challenging ones. In here we have to find the arc or the angle indicated. All right, so let's get this one done. In here, we're only working with angles right now. Later on, we're gonna work with segments, or actually we're gonna do it right now on this one. We'll talk about that later on. Number 13, let's identify what we have to find. So in here, if I go back to my formula sheet, okay, which one is the one that I have to use? Okay, let me go back. It seems that we have two secants. So we're gonna use this formula here, two secants. And the formula is the following. X is equal to half of n minus n. I'm going to rewrite the formula because I do feel it's a little bit easier if I just write 2x is equal to n minus n. Okay? All right, so now let's identify what is the x, what is the m, and what is the n. So the x is this right here. The n is this guy right here. And then finally the m is this guy here. So if I want to solve this problem, let me actually bring this guy here. 2x is equal to m minus n. The x in this case will be 7x minus 2. I'm going to write it in parentheses. 7x minus 2 is equal to the m in this case is 26x minus 6. Okay, that is the m right there. All this portion. And then finally the n. Here's where you have to be very careful. Okay, very careful. As you can see, the n, you have to put parentheses in there. Okay, why? Because you're subtracting the whole thing. Okay, you're subtracting the whole thing. So you do have to put parentheses for that n. If you don't put those parentheses, you are going to get the problem wrong. So again, this right here is the x with parentheses. The m, we don't put parentheses on this one because we don't need it on that, but we definitely do need the parentheses for this right here. Okay, so now that we have done that, let's try to solve this problem. Okay, so let's first distribute that 2. We're gonna get 14x minus 4 is equal to, now I'm going to distribute that negative, and I'm gonna get negative x minus 4. Let's combine like terms, like this. Okay, 26 minus 11 is gonna be 15x. Okay, and then we're gonna get negative 10 right there. Now let's go ahead and solve it. If you subtract 14x on both sides, you just get x there, and then add 10 on both sides, you'll get 6. Okay, now the answer to this question, and this is where you have to be very careful, guys. The answer to this question is not finding x. Okay, that's not what they're asking you to do. They're asking you to find this measurement, DFR. So DFR is this right here. They want you to find that angle right there. Well, if you found x, then the rest is very easy. Okay, and here's the final part. This x, you're gonna replace it with the 6. So it's now gonna be 7 times 6 minus 2. Okay? Of course, 7 times 6, it's not 40, it's actually 42. Minus 2 should be 40. And this right here is your final answer. That is the measurement of DFR. Okay, so number 13 and the rest of the problems require one extra step. You're just not finding x, you're also finding the measurement of DFR. But finding that is easy after you find x. Same idea with number 14 in here. They're asking you to find SRT. So after you find x, okay, you're gonna plug in there, and that's gonna give you your final answer. All right, let's do number 15 here. Okay, the formula, again, they're asking you to find RST. Well, we can't find that unless we figured out what x is. So let's go back to our formula sheet. And as you can see, we have 2 tangents, and we are going to use that formula in order to solve this. We need this formula right here. Okay, so that formula right there. So again, so we have x is equal to half of m minus n. Okay, the x in this case, all right, should be this right here. The n is this right here, and the m is this guy right here. So the x, one more time, is 20x minus 5. Okay, is equal to have, actually, let me rewrite, because I don't like fractions. You can always rewrite this as 2x is equal to m minus n. So instead, I'm gonna write the x like that. I think that will make it a little bit easier. All right, the m in this case is 62x plus 7. And guys, this is where you have to be very careful. Very careful. the n, if you write it like this, you're gonna get the problem wrong. Okay, it's gonna be wrong. Why? Because you need parentheses right there. You need those. Okay, you need those definitely. All right, so now we're going to distribute. 2 times 20 is 40x minus 10. And then we're going to distribute that negative right there. Okay, see how that 9 becomes a negative? That's important in this round. We're gonna combine like terms. 62 minus 24 is gonna be 38. X, and then 7 minus 9, that's just gonna be negative 2. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and subtract 38x on both sides. And you're going to get 2x is equal to, we're going to add 10 on both sides so that this and this cancels. You're going to get 8 right there. That means that x is equal to 4. But of course, guys, that is not what we're looking for. We're looking for RST, the measurement of the angle RST. Well, all I have to do now after I find that, it's right there. We're going to replace that x with a 4. And then we're going to subtract 5. So 20 times 4 is 80 minus 5. Your final answer should be 75. All right, let's do number 17. On this one here, they're asking you to find the measurement of the arc. Well, that is the same as finding an angle pretty much. So you're going to be finding this right here. A, D, B. Okay? ADB. So how are we gonna do that? That's interesting. Well, let's go back to our formula sheet. Which one is the one we're gonna use? As you can see, this is what we have. Okay, so we're gonna be using that formula right there. That's interesting. Okay, so we have x is equal to half of n. The x in this case, again guys, this right here is n, and we need to find that. That's the only way we're gonna be able to figure out what this right here is. That's the question mark we're looking for. And I'll explain in a second how do we find that. But first of all, the x right here is this right here. This right here is 9x minus 7 is equal to something that you have to know is that they're giving you some information here. The measurement of ADB right here is 22x plus 14. Okay, this is where it's gonna get extra difficult. You're probably gonna be like, what the heck did this guy just do? Okay, So this right here, from there to there, we have to, that is what we need for the formula. But we don't know what that is. Okay, how are we gonna get that? Well, it's actually not too difficult. That portion right there, that red portion, is the following. Is 360 minus 22x plus 14. How did I come up with that? Well, you have to realize that 360 is a whole circle. So that red portion is 360 minus this right here. So let's figure out what, so this right here is what we consider our n. So that n right there will be, and I'm going to distribute this, and let's simplify it. 316 minus 14 is 346 minus 22x. Okay, I do not like to have fractions, so I'm going to multiply by 2 to get rid of that fraction. We have done that before. We get 18x minus 14 is equal to 346 minus 22x. Let's solve this guy now. So we can add 22x on both sides. But this and this cancels. We get 40x is equal to, add 14 there. I do believe you get 360 there. And then 360 divided by 40 should be x is equal to 9. Okay, so now you're wondering, okay, well, we got x is equal to 9. What should I do now? Well, we're going to plug it in. Okay, this right here, x is equal to 9, we're going to plug it in right there. Because this is what we're looking for. We're looking for this right here. So 22 times 9 plus 14, that should be 212 as your final answer. Okay? You should be glad I actually did that one for you because it is a challenging problem. Let me try to simplify 18 for you because that one is challenging as well. You have to realize, okay, from here to here, that is my n on the formula. Okay, how do I get that? Well, the whole circle is 360. I know that this right here, from here to there, is this right here. So that red portion should be 360 minus 39x plus 5. Okay, and you are going to plug that in into the formula. The formula in this case is x is equal to half times n, which is that red right there. So it's going to be 2x is equal to n. This right here, this is this right here. This is the x, and this right here is the n, or this right here. So I'm gonna let you figure that one out, finish that one. I know it's a little bit more challenging, but see if you can substitute those there. Number 19. Almost there, guys. Number 19. Let's figure it out first what formula we have to use. Okay, when I look at this formula right there, I'm gonna look at my formula sheet and I'm gonna say nope, 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 nope. So maybe I skipped it. Yes. Or actually, let me go back. Yes, okay. This is what we call an inscribed angle. Okay, so we got the formula. And we need to look for CD. Okay, we have to be careful here. CD. Okay, let's look for CD. Okay, so right there, CD. I'm gonna use my formula first. The formula says x is equal to half of n. Once again, guys, don't like working with fractions. I'm gonna write it as 2x is equal to n. You have to identify what is the x. The x in this case is this right here. And then the n in this case will be this guy right here. So I'm going to substitute that x for 14x minus 5 is equal to the n in this case will be 27x minus 5. 2 times 14 is going to be 28x minus 10 is equal to 27x minus 5. Subtract 27 from both sides. You get 1x there. And then let's add 10 on both sides. You should get 5. Again, we're looking for CD. So we're looking from here all the way to that right there. All we have to do is plug in there. 27 times 5. So I'm going to plug in a 5 in there. So 27 times 5 minus 5. When you calculate that, you should get 130 degrees. Okay? 19 and 20 are very similar. Those two are very similar. I know this one has this right here, but don't let that confuse you. It's the same thing as number 19. Okay, same thing. It's the same, guys. I'm gonna finish up with those two last rounds. Okay, this right here, it's a little bit more challenging. This one here seems that there is a lot going on. What we have here is that we have inscribed angles. Okay, we have an inscribed angle there, and we have another inscribed angle. Okay, if you look at the formula sheet, we do have a formula for that. Those are my inscribed angles right there. X is equal to half of n. Alright, so let's figure what this is. Okay, so let's talk about the red portion right here. This right here, all of this right here is going to be twice as that. So this right here will be 2 times 2x plus 130. Okay, that's what we said yesterday, that's twice as that. Remember, the formula for that is x is equal to half of n, or 2x is equal to n. Okay, so n is twice of x. And this right here, from there all the way to there, that's going to be twice as that right there. So this is going to be 2 times x plus 67. Tell you what, what's happening here is that now we have a full circle. So this plus this should add up to 360. So 2 times 2x plus 113 plus 2 times x plus 67 should add up to 360 degrees. So now let's go ahead and distribute those 2's. We got 4x plus, it's going to be 226. Then we're going to distribute that 2 as well. Then we got 2 times 67. And we get 134. Let's go ahead and combine like terms. We have 4x plus 2x. That should be 6x. And then we have 226 plus 134. Ooh, that's weird. It actually adds up to 360. That means 6s is equal to 0. That means x is equal to 0. Which means I'm looking for JRL. So I'm going to plug in 0 in there. So 2 times 0 plus 113. Your actual answer is 113 degrees. That should be your final answer. I'm going to do one more. Let's see, I'll do one of those, the ones that looks the hardest. Number 24 is actually pretty RPQ. I'll do that one. Number 24. Number 24, they're asking me to find this right here, RPQ. Okay, RPQ. How do I find that? Well, if I'm able to figure out what x is, then I'll plug in x, and then this will be half of that. Okay, now remember that's half. All right, so now how do I find it? Well, you know that this plus this plus this should all add up to 360. So I'm gonna set it up for you. 4x plus 16 plus 11x plus 3 plus 10x plus 16 is equal to 360. Okay, after you find that, you're gonna get a value for x. Plug that into that right there. Whatever you get there, the answer is gonna be half. Okay, half of whatever you get there. So let me actually then do 23. I have done plenty of those. Let me do 23 for you. This one here, we have an inscribed angle, or maybe I'll just set it up for you. That red portion is going to be twice as that. So it's going to be 2 times 8x minus 12. That means that this is 16x minus 24. So let's go ahead and move on. We know that this plus that, when I add all that together, that should add up to 360. Let's simplify. We have 16x for 4x plus 8x That's going to be 28x. And then we have negative 24 minus 2 minus 6. Okay, solve for x. I'm going to add 34 on both sides. And then you're going to divide by 28. I'm getting a mistake here. Let me make sure I did everything correct there. Oh, okay, so this right here should be 32 instead. Negative 24 minus 2 minus 6 should be 32 instead. Okay. The way I noticed that it was wrong is because I got a decimal and I'm not supposed to get a decimal. So now I'm good. So x is equal to 14. Okay, I added 32 on both sides and then I divided by 28. Of course, that's not the final answer. I'm looking for xwy, this right here. So I'm gonna plug in 14 in there. So 8 times 14 minus 12 should give me the final answer that I'm looking for. Okay, and that final answer should be 100. Because 8 times 14 is 112 minus 12 is 100. All right, very good, guys. Very good. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So 12 problems out of 24. Like I promised, I did half of the worksheet for you. Now it's your turn to show me that you can do the other half. I know that this is pretty challenging, so if you have questions or not sure what to do, go ahead and reach out to me through the Canvas app or through just Canvas or through email, and then maybe we can schedule a Zoom meeting and then we can talk a little more about what you need to do. Okay, well, I'll see you guys on the next video.